Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new episode of In Conversations with, a series where we invite all film industry professionals and interview them about their field of work. Our today's guest is Mr. Baradwaj Rangan. He's a very popular and well known film critic, primarily working in the Indian film industry. He has also won the national awards for the best film critic in 2006 and has had a very diverse career in various fields. So, welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I actually right now pretty much do only Indian films. So
Yes.
yeah, I don't even do non-Indian films except when I go to the occasional festival or something like that. So yeah.
Yes, sir. So that's great to hear. And I will be just like totally diving straight into the question, and that is while I was researching for this interview for a couple of days, I found that you have done you have a very diverse set of careers, and also you had done engineering during your undergraduate studies. So from there, how did that transition into this filmmaking field and this film critiquing? So how was the journey like?
See, I've spoken about this many times. It's just that nobody really can become a film critic off the bat. It's like there's no like you can't. There's no BE or like a BSc or a BCom or something like that that kind of lets you do this, right? So you have to figure out one of the popular courses that lets you get a degree and then slowly figure out how to get into this field. And also, I always knew I was interested in films and I always knew I was interested in writing, and this seemed a good way to mix the two interests. And like I've again mentioned this many times, but I've always watched films very very carefully.
Yes.
Music and movies are two things that I process like well, I guess. So I and I also picked up a lot of stuff by reading a lot about it, and
Yes.
by if I'd watch a movie, I'll immediately go and read like
Yeah.
what people said about it, or so I slowly learned to to kind of appreciate the language, because with movies, one thing that many people don't realize is because we focus so much on the story, there's an actual language that's a visual language that's very
Yes.
different from what we read as a text, or what we kind of this one. So you have to learn how to read that visual language, and one of the things that I have been trying to do through my criticism is also kind of point out the films that
Yes.
use cinema
Exactly.
well, rather than just tell a story. Though many people may just want that. See, again, I'm not saying this is the right way or
Exactly.
this is
Yeah.
the wrong way or whatever it is. I mean,
Yes. It's a very
you
subjective thing.
no, you do what you take what you want, right? If you only
Yes.
want the story, you take only the story. I mean, but then then you might as well be reading a book. Is my contention. But yeah, that's how this happened, because I was interested in writing about films, and I also felt that at that time, because I would always wonder why aren't our reviews as explanatory as the reviews of foreign films in
Yes.
foreign publications. And one of the things was that the newspapers just did not give that much space.
Yeah.
But when I came on the scene along with certain others, the blog scene had exploded.
Yes.
So it was possible to write very long reviews, and
Very
that
detailed
picked up.
reviews, kind of.
Yeah, and not worry about newspaper space and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, slowly that grew. Yeah,
Yes.
and now
Yes.
yeah, then the jump happened from uh, after about 10 years in print. I was invited to head film campaign or begins film campaign in South,
Yes.
which I started. Uh, and now I'm with Galata Plus.
Yeah.
So these past years, about 6 years or so, have been about digital journalism. They also write the reviews, but somehow the video reviews get noticed more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yes.
people think I've abandoned writing. I haven't. But yeah, the video reviews
Yes.
get noticed more. So
Yes. So, sir, like as you were mentioning that for you, it's not only about the stories. You also take importance in like how the film is visually and many other factors. And rightly, as you said, that filmmaking is a language of visual medium, right? So, do you believe that? Do you believe it's true? But at the same time, there are many other filmmakers who who kind of totally challenge the whole medium. Like they don't. or the if I totally talk about these art films and everything, they're not even so much visually appealing many times. So, and I even had conversations with many others regarding this, and there have been varied opinions about the same. So what do you think, according to you, like what are the parameters you consider while reviewing a film?
Uh, Again, see, the thing is, like there is no one way to make a film, right?
Yes.
So it depends on, I like all kinds. See, as long as, let me put it this way, as long as I know that there is a directorial brain behind the movie becomes interesting to me.
Yes.
I'm not interested, or the movies that don't appeal to me are, I hate movies that try to change the world and give social messages.
Yes.
Those. I mean, if they're made well, fine. If they're
Yeah.
made well with a directorial brain, that's fine. But if you're just going to, like,
Like a message
thrust
kind
a
of a thing.
message on
Yes.
me, kind of, then that kind of film doesn't work for me at all. But yeah, I'm mainly interested in films in which I see a director at work, and through his vision, I
Yes.
see everybody else's contribution, but mainly the directorial sensibility is evident.
Yes.
That is why I'd rather see a flawed work of a directorial brain than a successful storytelling exercise by somebody who's not really a director.
Okay, that's an interesting point because
Yeah, and probably I'm in the minority, I agree. But for me, cinema is very important. I mean, the
yes,
medium is very important, and to be able to use the tools of that medium is very important. And I'm not interested in stories
yeah,
as much as I'm not. Stories are the what.
yeah,
I'm what is happening. I'm more interested in how it is happening on screen.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. So, sir, like then talk coming to Indian films specifically, what do you think right now? Where is like right now? We have there have been a lot of debates about the kind of film which is being made in India with the pan-Indian films and everything. So, right now, where do you think our industry stands as of now from a creative point of view? Do you think there has been a lot of improvements in recent years, or do you think we're going in the wrong direction?
Oh, what do you mean by creative
But,
point of view?
like from creative point of view, I mean to say that, for example, right now there have been many things that a lot of like not a lot of efforts are been going into the writing process. Like that's the main criticism which is being coming out in the recent. I'm talking totally in Hindi films perspective right now. I will be coming to regional films and other films later, but from Hindi films perspective, the main criticism which has been coming was a lot of like the writing is not good, or sometimes a lot of not of like it's just remakes and stuff like that, those are happening. So do you think in the near future or right now is this same changing in the Hindi film industry after these recent critiques and everything like that?
Uh, See, I think every industry goes through a cycle. I think right now
Yes.
we are witnessing a bunch of films that were commissioned before the pandemic coming
Yeah.
slowly into here. So the rhythms are different,
Yes.
the style is different. So everything is kind of, so it takes a while for people to figure out. And let me tell you right now, no industry is doing well.
Yeah.
No industry is doing well. Everybody thinks the Kannada industry has rocked it, but
Yes.
one KGF and one Kantara 2
Yes.
does not, that means that that particular movie has done fantastically well
Yeah.
and has been accepted. But for an industry to survive,
Yeah.
they should have content coming out 12 months of the year, to
Yeah.
kind of, there should be at least two hits per month, kind of,
Yes.
that's when an industry survives. Otherwise, theaters are empty. See, today what has happened is something very interesting. Uh, the entire burden of a film success
Yes.
has gone to the OTT sale.
Yeah. True.
So let's say you make a movie for 50 crore, you pre-sell it to OTT for 30 crore if it has a star. See, that's a big, big,
Yes.
if you do not have a star, it's very difficult to sell it to OTT, but let's assume you have a star. So that means that, and then everything else takes, your satellite, your music rights, your this one, your that one. By then, another 30 crores. So you're already in the plus before you even release it in theaters.
Yes.
So the theatrical run has become less important, which means that that entire exhibitor market, that is the theaters,
Yeah.
are suffering like crazy. I know of multiplexes that have 10 screens, of which 5 screens have been closed simply because they do not want to open up. those screens for, and because they don't want to spend on AC and other things.
Yes.
So we are facing a very strange time right now, which has never before happened in history, because earlier, every change that came, they said, oh, television is going to kill films. Oh,
Yes.
VCR is going to kill films. Oh, DVD is going to kill films.
Yeah.
Oh, piracy is going to kill films. But none of them did, because the number of people who could afford all these things was relatively less. But what has magically changed is the arrival of the smartphone.
Yeah. True.
Now, like there are many people who don't even have apps, but they see so much YouTube,
Yes.
that there is so much content on YouTube that they say that I can spend my whole life watching YouTube videos. I don't
Yeah.
need anything else.
True.
So you have to understand that like this, what we are doing right now, if somebody's watching it, it's going to take up an hour of somebody's time. That means that hour could be spent watching half a movie.
Yes.
That
Exactly.
means that half a movie is not going to get watched.
Yes.
So the competition to movies earlier was just other forms of watching movies like VCR and other things. But now the competition has become content that has proliferated the web from all over. It could be
Yes.
videos, it could be Insta Reels, it could be this, it could be that, it could be
Podcasts.
any
Podcasts is another
podcasts,
great.
it could be anything. So now movies are really in a bad situation, because you have to figure out a way to either make a profit through OTT
Yes.
or make a profit through theatrical.
Yes.
And that's become increasingly difficult without stars.
Okay. But
Remember, at one point there
yes.
was this, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
remember at one point there was this wonderful genre called the Ayushmann Khurrana
Yeah.
movie.
I was just going to ask you about just exactly that. In fact,
Yeah, and nobody knew who Ayushmann Khurrana was
yes.
earlier, and he came and he arrived with a bang. He's a fantastic actor, and people are watching it. But now that genre has become like, acha, isko, we can watch it at home.
Exactly. Exactly.
So people don't have to go to the theaters to watch certain kind of movies. So the what works at the theaters has become a very very narrow kind of movie,
Yes.
and you know uh, that's
It's
that's
yeah.
what's become like a thing, which is not to say that like other movies are not working. For instance, we've had certain small movies working, but they are too far and few and far between to kind of make up a trend. The only thing we know for certain is if you have a big director and big stars, people will come.
Yes.
If you do not have that, then it's a big problem.
Yes, so like I was just going to ask you that only. In fact, your interview with Siddharth Anand for Pathan, he was in fact your first question was why did Pathan work, and his answer was that film was made post pandemic. That was one thing which you said. Another thing was that he was also very afraid of this genre of this art house films, which were like films like Badhai Ho and Ayushman Khurrana movies, which you were saying they were doing not maybe not huge numbers, but they were very profitable. So, do
Yeah.
you think that after the pandemic, suddenly there was a shift in mindset that people started to avoid going to theaters? And also, you are saying this another point, which is there is now a very thin line between the kind of content we are consuming, because earlier also there was there was theaters, like I'm not talking about films, but there was dramas, there was radio shows, so different kinds of content existed, but movies had a separate space in themselves. But now, do you really think that content like Instagram reels and Instagram reels and podcasts have the capability of overtaking theatrical business?
They have, because see, the thing is, you see, going anybody
Yes.
chooses comfort over anything else.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, there are a lot of people who don't go to movies because they would rather watch the, like, if they have 7 to 9, they watch 4 serials or something like that.
Yeah.
So for the movies are not done. So the thing is, that is why you have movies appealing more and more to the younger demographics, because they are the ones who actually go to the theater in large numbers.
Yes.
The older demographics have stopped going to theaters.
Yes.
So that itself has changed. Now you're having another change in which movies are being consumed. Like let's say there is a movie that's being released today. Uh, I know that it's going to come on OTT in 3 or 4 weeks'
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
know that in that time, I have enough content to consume, because there's
Yeah.
probably a series, there's probably something else, a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a long time, etc., etc. There's so much content out there
Yeah.
that the 3 weeks are going to pass by in a heartbeat.
Yes.
So I
True.
don't need to go and watch it on a big screen unless I'm a film buff or a reviewer or a I don't know, like I don't know why
Yeah.
else I would go to the big screen, because the point is that there are many other ways to spend time, and also when you go there to the screen, you end up spending a lot of money, and people are realizing that investing in apps is actually cheaper than going and than even popcorn.
Yes. Exactly.
So I don't know how this is going to resolve itself, but yeah, but it's not looking good right now. Yeah.
Yes. So, like, according to you, there is a potential of OTT space overtaking the theatrical run. Like, as you are also saying that it already has it done in in a very significant manner. But until and unless there comes a film like Pathan or Jawan, which is releasing a month later, we can expect again a huge number of footfalls for those. And coming to your interviews, also there was one interview with Karan Johar where he said that the reason why these recent Hindi films people are not going to watching is due to the lack of conviction in Hindi cinema. So that's again another important thing. So he believes that if there is a lot of conviction in the making of the in the filmmaking process, then maybe people will be going to the theaters. So according to you, what should be like? Is it a valid thing? Like, is there a lack of conviction right now in Hindi cinema?
Uh, I don't know. See, the thing is, you can't make up what Southern cinema is based on a handful of successful films,
Okay.
because we sitting out here have a panoramic view of Indian cinema because we watch Southern cinema as well as Northern cinema as well as
Yes.
every other kind of cinema. Whereas the same is not necessarily true from the other side because you don't get access to that many Southern language films.
Yes.
So I would say that if you come here, you will see that there are huge, huge numbers of movies that are flopping left, right, and center,
Yes.
and only about four or five actually making money. So that conviction point, I agree or do not agree, but even if you do not have conviction, but you're just putting together a star package, there's a
Yes.
good chance a movie will work.
Okay.
There's a very good chance that because people want to see a big star, that's
Yes.
it's gone back to that.
Oh,
They don't
it's
want
like
to see
circular.
movies that are small. They don't want to see movies that have other things. They just want to see movies that have stars.
So, like, what Indian cinema was about, like Indian cinema is famously known as it is always famously known as the escaping kind of a thing. Like, it's like an escapist cinema where you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
with your family and
So
enjoy.
right. So now, if see already now if I go see as it is, what was called parallel cinema was
Yes.
kind of it has been pushed out of the system. Right. You can't make that anymore.
Yeah.
At least not in a very profitable way. It's only if Netflix or Amazon or something like that commissions a
Yeah.
film like that. Can you make it? Otherwise, that whole generation of films started by with Benegal
Yeah.
and
With Shyam
Nihilani
Benegal.
and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's all gone. I mean, that movie era, that movie style is gone.
Yes.
So now people are more into people are always into escapism because even as Benegal was making his movies,
Yeah.
Manmohan Desai was making his movies.
Yeah.
So there was
Exactly.
not like one did, but there was space because there was no other form of entertainment. So these movies were also a valid way of spending a couple of hours.
Yes.
But Adsatya was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Now, there's also this thing that's come in where a kind of I don't know what the word for it is. It's like something like the pleasure principle, where I don't want movies to make me think. I don't want movies to
Yes.
make me cry. I don't want movies to make me think about the society or this or that. I only want movies that entertain me,
Yes.
that take me out of this world and kind of too. So that becomes a thing. So there's a good chance of, I think, horror movies and comedies working at the box office even without a big star cast. But I really think the drama is going to face serious problems because. of whatever I said. Yeah.
Yes. So, and coming to another aspect of this box office success and Indian films working in general, we know that in 2022 RRR released, and it won Oscar, obviously. So now it's a global phenomenon, and many people are now interested in Indian cinema. So, what do you think will be the impact of RRR on India's filmmaking future?
Uh, all I would say it's not RRR. It's actually Bahubali that
Yes.
changed Indian cinema, the face of Indian cinema, because the unprecedented success of that film, or rather those two films, paved the way for a lot of people to dream big.
Yeah.
And it also showed that, yes, everybody was complaining that, oh, Hindi cinema, this is the cap, this is the maximum you can reach, this is the numbers that you can reach. But the numbers that RRR 2 did,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bahubali 2
Bahubali
did, or
2.
the numbers that RRR did, they were like mind boggling, because they just went to east, west, north, south, city, village, everywhere. So suddenly people realized that the way to get everybody on board to watch a movie was to create these larger than life escapist fantasies.
Yes.
But the thing is, it takes a long time to put these together.
Yeah.
So it took so much time for
Yeah. Yes.
Rajamali to mount that film. RRR took a long time.
Yes.
So what do you have between these RRRs? That is the problem.
Okay.
But I think in another 10 years' time, when the production cycle becomes evened out, and everybody's kind of got a big movie in their hands, we're going to have at least one or two really big movies which will be released every month, regardless of language, because it's all going to become pan-Indian.
Yes.
And so we are going to go and watch all these movies in the theater, because it's going to be, uh, you know, one big movie after another, or rather one theatrical experience after another.
Yes.
Whereas the dramas, therefore, will get drowned in this noise, because they are going to be, uh, like they are personal experiences. And I would rather not be in a theater where with other distracted people with their phones. I would rather
Yes.
watch it on my own. Like, it's a personal experience. I don't need a crowd for a drama.
Yes.
Whereas for a comedy, a crowd helps. For horror, a crowd helps.
Yeah.
For a big action thriller, a crowd helps. But for a dramatic film, a small intimate drama, I don't know if a crowd helps.
Yeah. True.
So a lot of people might just say, "I'm going to wait for this to come." Uh, I really hope I'm proved wrong, though. But this is what I think is going to happen.
Yes. So, sir, like as you were telling that you don't need an audience to experience a drama, like you can do it. It has to be a personal experience. So, do you think that filmmakers, while making the film, should keep in mind the like the medium in which it is coming out? Because till now, what was happening was a film is made, and then then most of it was like many times the big action films or big action series are coming out in OTTs, or small courtroom dramas or any dramas like those are coming to theatricals. So there is not a lot of planning process in it. So do you think while in the filmmaking process also the filmmakers should keep in mind where the final film is going to be presented?
The final film is going to eventually be an OTT for a lifetime. That is
Yeah.
inevitable. So, and now what OTTs are doing is just demanding that you release the film in theaters, so that they can get reviews and publicity before they put it on their channel.
Yeah.
So we cannot rely on, uh, let's say, Millie.
Yeah.
Uh, it didn't do that. The numbers weren't great in theaters, but
Yeah.
then it was never supposed to be a theatrical film.
Exactly.
It became it came to theaters, did whatever numbers it could, which became gravy, and then went to OTT, where most people saw it. So the theater was just a condition, a precondition for the OTT to the sale, the OTT sale. It's like you first release it for a week or two in theaters, and then we'll take it, because by then reviews have come, people are interested or not interested, and they formed. They're saying, "Oh, okay, I want to see this," or "I don't want to see this." So that's what OTTs are interesting now. That you release it in theaters, which is why the a lot of people think that, oh my god, so stupid, why did they release it in theaters?
Yeah.
They should release it in OTT. It's actually they don't want to release it in theaters, because nobody wants to be caught with embarrassing box office figures.
Yes.
But the point is that the OTTs are demanding now that you release
Yes.
your films in theaters, get your reviews, and get your Twitter whatever buzz or whatever it is, and then we'll release it on OTT. Yeah,
So it's more of a business requirement than a production requirement. So
production requirement. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. And you also talked about another factor, which is the stars. Like a film with a big star or a big director can guarantee, like not guarantee, but you chances of having a bigger run on the box office is like it's inevitable. So coming to that, nowadays what we have realized is that the star system in India is also ending. At least, like for example, Shah Rukh Khan famously he has said many times that I am the last of the stars. And at the same time, nowadays also there have been many popular actors. So there is popularity, but there is no stardom. So because nowadays what people want is that they want their heroes or the actors to feel relatable with them, like through social media we know where our actors are, where what is like what they're doing, what they're reading. But when well, especially in Indian cinema during the 70s and 80s, there was a mystery about the stars. You didn't know much about them. So like for example, Amitabh Bachchan does a hairstyle, every all his fans copy that. So that was the star system exactly. And now we don't see that. Now it's more of a cool casual kind of a thing. They like the audience also expects the film stars or the film actors to be intellectual and intelligent and have conscious conversations, and not like just like worship like a godlike figure. So but at the same time you're also saying that films with bigger stars only will be working now in the box office. So what is exactly the contrast in between them?
No, I think. See, I definitely do think that new stars are needed because every industry needs fresh blood. But the point is, it's a conundrum because if people are only going to see the movies of stars,
Yes.
then how do you create new stars?
Yes, that is also there. Right.
That has become a problem because now, unless you have a fluke hit, and because stardom is created by sustained interest from the audience for a particular actor or actress. That is when stardom happens because it doesn't happen because one movie is a hit. It
Right.
happens when over a period of time several movies become a hit until that person is like an automatic, oh, it's an
Yeah.
SRK movie, I want to watch it. It's a
Yes.
Shah Rukh film, I want to watch it. It's a Salman movie, I want to watch it. It's whatever, Rajnikant movie, I want to watch it. Whatever it is. So that happens over several years. But now, will people get the chance to sustain themselves over several years? That's the big question. Because when when you're a new guy, when a new kid on the block, the days of big launches are gone because you can't bet so much money on an unknown
Yeah.
pair or whatever it is. So your budget has to come down, and when the budget comes down, people are like why should I watch this in same thing when I get it in OTT or torrents or whatever it is.
Yes.
Now, the other thing that has happened is when people it's become the theater was the big creator of stars because it was practically the temple where people went to worship their stars.
Yes,
And now that
exactly.
the theaters have started, the business of the number of people going to theaters has become less, except for the last few stars that are remaining. How do you make these new stars into people that audiences are going to come to the theater for?
Yes.
Now, that is the biggest question that needs to be cracked by every single industry, not just the Hindi film industry, but every single industry.
Okay.
How do we create new stars? Because as our stars are growing older, and how do you create a new generation of stars? Because otherwise, once these stars are past their prime, you're not going to have anything. And then it's the only things that you don't need. You might get into a situation where, like Avatar,
Yeah.
where you don't need stars at all.
Yes. It's totally digital.
You don't even care who's there. Yes, Kate Winslet was there, but did anybody go to that movie
No.
because Kate Winslet was there? No, they went because of the whatever the
Yeah, the
camera
legacy of.
director and his vision. Again, I come back to that point: directorial vision.
Yes.
That's there. There is thing. I mean, that particular film didn't work for me, but there's a different thing. I respect it a lot because there is a very particular. directorial vision there.
Yes. So, so then, technically speaking, do you think that even the definition of stars might change from what it was till today, like till now, what it was in terms of films?
No, a star is a star. I don't think that's going to change. But I think people will be, see, for instance, I think more people are going to be open to watching non-stars on OTT, because on OTT content becomes important.
Yes.
They're like, I want to be entertained for 8 hours, 10 hours, or even if it's a movie, 2 hours. But I don't really care about who the star is because I'm not paying for it. Technically, yes, you are paying for it, but but you're not paying per movie.
Yeah.
You're not
True.
paying like per series or
Yes.
whatever it
Yes.
is. It's an
Or
overall
just
thing.
one showing. You can watch it many times as you want.
Many times you want. So that's what becomes the thing. So I do think, there are going to be people coming up as OTT stars or famous stars, but big film stars that drive the theaters, that's, I think, going to be a problem. And this is not a problem just in India. This is a problem throughout the world.
Okay.
See, if you look at last year, almost everything was either a franchise movie in
Yeah.
Hollywood or Top Gun 2
Yes.
or yeah, something like that, like
Yes.
Avatar
It's
or,
Top Gun or Marvel or something.
Avatar, it was Marvel, something. There was very, very few non-star original movies went well. Whereas before the pandemic, movies like Get Out were
Yeah.
monster hits. They're
Exactly.
very big hits.
Exactly.
But we'll have to see whether those films, like, make people come to the theaters again. I have a feeling that those films can be made within the theatrical system, but their budgets will have to come down terribly, so that the current, even if, let's say, 100 people were coming earlier and now only 20 people are coming, then your movie is still going to be a reasonably profitable venture at the theater because your budget is low. But
Yes.
then here and elsewhere, the remuneration of stars is so high
Yeah.
that, and the planning is very. See, Karan Johar told me once that films never go wrong, only budgets go wrong.
Yes. 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 Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, I probably said this before, but that's like, films never go wrong, only budgets go wrong. So you can make any kind of film you want, provided you stick to your budget and you know what it is. And if you're going to make extravaganzas, then you better be sure that you have the content or the writing to back it up. That's what it is. So it's like, now with all these people wanting to make, all of Indian filmmakers wanting to make big movies,
Yes.
what is the source of these movies,
Yeah.
right? And if, let's say, we want to make a superhero film, what are we going to give the superhero to do that a Marvel or a DC has not already given?
Right.
Because they've also started dubbing their movies into all Indian languages.
Yes. That is true.
So again, it's these are, I would say, troubled times for those within the industry and interesting times for those outside the industry, because we're going to be seeing how things develop from now. See, I'm not sounding like, it's not that I'm pessimistic about it. Entertainment will always have a place,
Yeah.
but whether it'll be what it meant before the pandemic is what I'm trying to talk about. Because now
Yeah.
what we call entertainment is not just the movies anymore. Everything
Yes.
becomes
That is true.
entertainment.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
So
see, if you say that you watched my Siddharth Anand interview and my some other interview and my some other interview,
yeah.
you basically spent the duration of a movie
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
watching three interviews.
Yes.
That's what I
Exactly.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, in fact, yeah, that's a very valid point, because earlier people were only exposed to interviews through the television medium. Nowadays, there's like a 10 questions. In fact, in your series also, there's a 10 questions with Karan Johar, which is a very short version of the whole
Yeah.
interview. So yes, that's true. Like, we are consuming content in all forms and from through every medium. And coming to your interview, which has been your most memorable interview, and whom you for any filmmaker or any film star you took, and what did you learn from him or her or he?
Uh,
I know it's going to be very hard to narrow down to one, but
yeah.
like, still some of the most memorable ones, if you could pick
I'm
up.
just going to say one thing that happened recently, maybe one or two. See, I love people talking about their process.
Yeah,
So for me, there was an interview that I did of this Malayalam actress called Rajisha Vijayan.
yeah,
That that was very very eye opening for me, because she it's very hard to get people who are articulate about their process
yeah,
and who really like to talk about it. And I really respected what she was put into her work, and I did that interview really worked for me. It was something that I learned a lot about. Uh, I loved interacting with Manoj Bajpayee and Anurag
yes,
Kashyap. Those were
yeah,
two very, because they are again very good talkers. Manoj Bajpayee was brilliant at explaining his process. Anurag is always a delight to talk to,
yeah,
because
yeah,
he just is so open and has such like unique opinions about everything, that it's always lovely. Then recently, I really enjoyed interacting with Manirattam and Rahman.
yeah.
Uh,
Yes, too.
it was just so nice to see the chemistry between them firsthand, because I actually think this is the first time I'm seeing them together, live, that is, not on a pre-recorded show.
Yes,
Like as in personally, this is the first time I'm probably seeing them. Well, of course I've met them both on like individually, but I think this is the first time I'm seeing them live, and seeing their chemistry, or their, the bond that they have, was really nice to see that long standing collaboration do what it is. So
yeah. In fact, in your as I was also telling you before that with your Anurag Kashyap's interview only, we were also interviewing Josh Hurtado to talk about the RRR's Oscar campaigning process, and we were referencing your interview only because that's where he said that Indian cinema is sold differently in different countries. It's sold to the NRI audience and not exactly to the Indians living, or like not to the foreign audiences living in these foreign countries. So that was
yeah,
a very it's a wonderful interview. I have maybe I've watched it personally. I've maybe watched it innumerable times because
thank
it's
you.
like a master class. Uh,
Yeah, but see, one thing is always that interviews are about also how much the interviewee opens up.
yeah,
So that always helps, when somebody is as intelligent and articulate and willing to speak like Anurag is. So
exactly.
that also helps a lot. So.
Yes, yes, yes. That is true. That is true. It depends a lot. And now coming to your screenwriting career, you have also worked as a screenwriter. So can you tell us a little bit about how it is different from writing for films than reviewing for films?
Uh, It's see, I doctor a lot of scripts.
Yeah.
A lot of people give me their scripts to read.
Yes.
Uh, I wrote a script for a Tamil film that I wrote a script for a Tamil film that's not been released because the company just went into oblivion.
Yeah.
That was long ago. I'm writing a script now. I wrote a short film that was released on Netflix. So that's a very different thing, because you are here, you are reviewing somebody, here you are putting yourself into a world that has already been created when you're
Yeah.
reviewing,
Yes.
and then you are observing what's in the movie, right?
Yes.
In screenwriting, you are creating that world.
True. That is true.
So it's like, all that, those cliches about blank paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is. You don't know until you find the character and they start to speak to you, and you start to develop the story and the characters and this and that. So uh and one thing is, it's so uh like a review, for instance, is your reaction to a film at that particular point in time, at that particular phase in your life. For example, if you're watching a film about a mother son bond, and if you,
Yeah.
let's say, you have a very close bond with your mother,
Yeah.
you'll relate to it a lot more than somebody who does not have a bond with their mother.
Yeah.
uh, all those things factor into place. Or let's say you watch this mother son bond movie at age 13, you might not like it because you prefer action movies. But when you're 30 years old or 40 years old, you may watch the same movie and have a different reaction, because films don't change. It's you that changes. Over time, you change. Films just stay the same, so that's why people say, I never liked this movie, but now I really do.
Yeah,
Or people
that,
say, I used to like this movie a lot, but now I'm like, I don't know why
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that movie. So you change. So whereas when you're screenwriting, it's different. It's like you're putting yourself in that world, and I like something that Rajiv Menon always say: at you never really finish, you just abandon it,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you
That is
can
true.
always keep working on it
Perfecting it.
endlessly.
Yeah.
But at some point, you just have to realize that this just has to go, and then just leave it. Yeah.
So like as like you said about all those pointers which you keep in mind while reviewing a film, so while you're writing a film, let's say for example, don't you think that you sometimes like face difficulties, like even or do you kind of challenge your own ideologies while reviewing a film while you are writing a film, like while you're
My
writing a film
my
for
my.
example,
Uh,
like for example you're writing a movie and let's say now you're reading it, let's say a script is being written and then you're reviewing it. So like does it happen sometimes that you are not satisfied with your own script as a reviewer, but as a screenwriter you are very much satisfied with that? Has it happened sometime like that?
See, when you're screenwriting, you see that reviewer is not a separate person. That person is always inside you. So you're looking at it with the same critical eye that you're kind of a thing. So you're not going to write anything unless you're mentally convinced
Yeah,
that's going to work. You may still discover a month later that that's not working, but at least at that point, you're just going
yes,
to, because the first thought you put to paper is always going to be a cliche.
yeah,
But then you remove all the immediate things that come to mind and keep digging and digging till you get something a little better.
yes,
So that's something you see. I think if you respect and appreciate cinema,
yeah.
the same set of criteria that shape a reviewer also shape a writer, except that they put out their work in different forms.
Okay. All right. And sir, like coming to the end of my questions, and after that we have audience questions, which Sushrinka will be he has been making ready. That is for upcoming, like for people who want to get into this film reviewing or film criticism. What would your advice be to them for
Oh,
aspiring film journalists?
I would say, find your voice and stick to it. It's like, and because I genuinely feel that uh, there are many things you can do. There are some people who are very funny and who take down movies, who troll movies, and they get a lot
Yes,
of
that is
views.
true.
But above all, I think one thing is, I mean, this is my personal wish that I want people who take cinema seriously.
True.
It's an art form. It's not something that it's not bubble gum.
Yeah.
Like even like, I don't know, like sometimes people pre-decide, like, oh, it's a Salman movie, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
should be
Exactly.
bad, or it should be something else. Uh but or it's a somebody movie, so it should be good. It's like, I think you should realize that you go into every movie with an open mind and try to consume what's there, and try to come out with it and say what's good and what's bad, and what's been done. So yeah, I think that's what I want.
Yes, and so just a follow-up question on that, you were mentioning about this. There are many people who just want to put down the movies, and especially in today's social media age, where everybody is a reviewer. Like for example, I go and watch a movie, I can just record my reactions, and now people are claiming themselves to be as a film reviewers and everything. And there is again another thing, which is the cancel culture, and people just like if you don't like a movie, you are not allowed to express your opinions. So how do you think, especially in the Indian context, how do you think a film reviewer should put out his or her opinions, either also or and a big question is whether or not he or she like should put out his or her reviews without being feared about getting cancelled or getting trolled or any or all of those sorts of things?
No, see, I think you should be honest above all to your own reactions. That's what will reach the most number of people. uh, if you are taking an unpopular view, it should not be because you want to be contrarian. It should be because that is genuinely a point of view. See,
Yeah,
the only thing that people that reaches people is your genuineness in conveying your points of view.
yeah.
You are not right, say, telling a review to convince others about their points of view. They are there because they said, okay, I saw this movie. This is what I think. Let's see what you think.
Okay.
Or they're like, okay, let's see what this guy thinks because they're kind of, I haven't seen this movie and I don't want to, but let's just see what the review is or whatever it is. Because I don't think you can really recommend a movie to people and it'll always work because people are different. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. So I'm more interested in the analysis than the verdict. Uh, yeah, that's what's interesting to me. Yeah.
Yes, it was great to hear your thoughts and your opinions about how you review a movie and on Indian cinema. And now Sushnigdo will be asking the audience questions. Sushnigdo, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay, so he has sent it. So then I'll be reading it. So the first question is, how do you balance your personal opinions and tastes with the objective evaluation of a film's quality? And what are some of the ethical considerations you consider, such as avoiding conflicts of interest and maintaining journalistic integrity?
Uh, I think that as long as you are putting out your own views on a film, regardless of whether you know the filmmaker or whether you know the because by the time you've reached the level that I've spent 20 years in the industry reviewing films, so it's inevitable that you know a lot of people,
Yes,
you know, either for whatever reason or the other. As long as you're able to put out your own you know, thoughts without like you know, saying, you know, downplaying something,
yes,
I think that's the only thing that matters, because at the end of the day nobody really knows who's connected to whom or who did what or something like that. There would be a hard call where if I have maybe acted in a movie or written a movie, obviously I would
yeah,
not review it or whatever it
yeah,
is,
yeah.
but otherwise I don't think uh, there are I do think reviews are personal opinions, but I don't take seriously the people who just give opinions. I want people to explain why they felt those opinions. Like, I don't want people saying, I like this movie. That's not interesting to me. For me, what's interesting is I like this movie because then that becomes interesting to me.
Yes, that is correct. The second question is, you have been associated with film criticism for a while now. How has the rise of social media and online film criticism changed the landscape of film criticism in general? So, in from your point of view, like I already asked about in general, but especially from a reviewing point of view, right now that the social media is has risen, personally from your point of view, how has it changed while reviewing a film?
For me, it's become a big relief because, first of all, you know, earlier a lot more people used to come and say, "You said the movie's good. I went and saw it, and now it's bad, and this and that, and all that." You know, because the reviewer had the position of telling, was thought to have the position of telling the audience whether to go to a movie or not.
Yes.
But thankfully, now that word of mouth duty has passed to social media.
Okay.
So the people who put out the tweets and all that, by almost like by interval point, you know whether like the people who follow social media have pretty much, they know whether a movie is a hit or a flop.
Yes.
So that I don't have to do anymore, and nobody has to depend on me anymore. So that's actually been a very liberating experience, so that I can just write what I want to or say what I want to, and that becomes a record of my views on a film and not necessarily a recommendation of a film.
So it's a very interesting point of view because we were also interviewing another film critic who is not from India for Rotten Tomatoes and Chicago, Ian Simmons. So he said that he said that many of the reviewers are facing difficulty also because of this online cancel culture. But this is a very interesting view, which you said that it kind of reduces the burden on one reviewer's opinion. That now people are not saying that okay, just because you said I am watching it and now
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
all the blame is not on you. So it's a very interesting thing, and I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for joining in. It was great to have you. It was a huge honor for us, and I hope that you also enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it a lot, and thanks and good luck to all your future efforts.